Hello and welcome, I am the Anonymous Weeb or Weebs for short. Back with a review of chapters 84 and 85 of the manga Chainsaw Man. Starting off from where chapter 83 ended, Denji or the Chainsaw Devil, whichever is more accurate now, just finished off the Hell Devil's avatar, if that's the right word for it. But before it can burn away one of those responsible for summoning it, who is somehow still alive, pools blood into its mouth. This is apparently enough to trigger the activation of more of its power as the Hell Door, as I've come to call it, open, and the giant human-like arm emerges from it, placing its palm on Denji, who is just standing there at the moment, for some reason not reacting to its presence at all despite Makima's request for help. As the palm touches him, he is instantly transported to hell, and the scene transitions to Makima and Kishibe, with the latter pointing a pistol at the former. Here we get an explanation of why Makima seems to be immune to damage, or at the very least doesn't seem to ever be impeded by the damage she receives. She has a contract with the Prime Minister of Japan, which states that any attacks made against her will be turned into appropriate illnesses and accidents of the Japanese people. Glad we got that sorted out, as it bugged me that out of all the devils Makima seemed to be the one that had no issue with injured by just about anything, no matter how strong it was. But now that we know the damage is being transferred away from her, it makes a lot more sense. But this does make me wonder, how deep does Makima's control sink into the government? Did she force the contract upon the Prime Minister, or did he or she make the contract willingly, and if so, for what purpose? We do not know, like we don't know a lot of things. Kishibe questions her why she is so calm about having her Chainsaw Devil dragged into hell. This is when Makima reveals she is a fan of the Chainsaw Devil, calling him the hero of hell, explaining that he will appear when a devil cries out for help and cut up their target, but also cut up the devil who called for help. Some devils react with anger towards his chaotic actions, others flee in terror of his revving engine, and others still worship him. While she's explaining this, we get to see Denji in hell, surrounded by all sorts of devils which seem to be trying to kill him or flee from him in some cases. It's hard to tell, but one thing is certain: no one is getting out of there alive. And as he stands on a mountain of devil corpses devouring the arm of some poor unfortunate devil, we get the real reason all devils fear him. Any devil eaten by the Chainsaw Man have their names erased from existence, and in doing so, that which they embody is erased. Now this is a good explanation of why Makima is after Denji. If she could bring the Chainsaw Devil under her sway, she could erase almost anything which has a devil representative, and since devils seem to be created from fear, everyone fears something, so she could really mess with the world. We transition back to Kishibe, who is still pointing his pistol at Makima, but he's utterly stunned by the revelation of the sort of power the Chainsaw Devil wields. Makima continues to explain that by eating a devil, they and what they represent is removed from past, present and future, along with individuals' memories. Even her, who seems to be almost an absolute when it comes to taking control over things, is starting to forget the names which have been erased. She then questions if he remembers what the Nazi did to the Jews, but Kishibe does not recognize the name Nazi. Nazi, World War II, Arno-1 syndrome, AIDS, SOA, nuclear weapons, the eruption of Mount Hio. These are devils which the Chainsaw Man has eaten, feared as much as any devil with names, but now they are no more. But this isn't all, there is more devils which have been eaten by the chainsaw. The sixth sense of humans, the light of a certain star which broke the mind of children, and four conclusions to life other than death. All these things used to exist before the Chainsaw Man ate them, and they had their existence erased. In this one small bit of a chapter we have opened the floodgates to a whole mass of world building and speculation. As much as this world might look like our own, its history is undoubtedly different. Key events which shaped our world today might have been utterly erased. This power is so absolute that not even Makima can remember them, only the battles which they had with the chainsaw remains in her mind. Burnt into it as she looked on to where Denji had been with a small smile on her face. Kishibe questions if she wants to use him to turn the world to crap, but she returns his question if he thinks the Prime Minister would make a contract with such an evil devil, but we still don't know if they did it willingly or not, considering what she says next put that even more in question. Her ability apparently works like this: anyone she thinks is lesser than her she can control them. Does that mean she does not think of Kishibe as lesser because she hasn't taken control of him? Or is she just playing with him? Hard to know, as she explains that she wants to make a better world, removing death, hunger, and war from it using his power. When Kishibe questions if she had considered what would happen if she lost control of him and was eaten, she responds it would be a dream come true to be eaten by the Chainsaw Man and become a part of him. So yeah, Makima is into vor, lots and lots of vor. She gets off on vor and is overjoyed at the thought of being vored by the Chainsaw Man. Okay lady, whatever you're into, I guess. Right as she finishes saying that, the Chainsaw Man emerges from the door showered in the blood of who knows how many devils. And that's where chapter 84 ends. Honestly, it's good. We finally get an explanation on what is so special about the Chainsaw Devil and why everyone either wants to kill or control him. We learned how Makima's ability apparently works. We got some interesting and terrifying world building, considering that history is now flexible in this world, and of course Kishibe did not die, so that is a bonus. Getting into chapter 85, we start off where the previous chapter started off, with Makima telling Kishibe to step back as Denji is coming to kill her because she asked for his help. Does this mean that the Chainsaw Devil think it is helping by killing? Maybe its warped sense of helping makes it think that by helping it means the final release from the world's suffering. Who knows? Makima gets speed blitzed as Denji breaks through the window and cuts her to shreds. It doesn't look like he ate her, and he also doesn't look like he attacked Kishibe. Which I am very thankful for, considering that at this point he is one of my favorite characters and having him die would be most upsetting, especially after Power kicked the bucket. I've always had a soft spot for mentor-style characters, more so the gruff and badass ones who just can't keep a death flag off themselves. The scene then changes to it's Kobani. She's working at a burger joint and having a grand time with snappy customers, an abusive boss slapping her over a verbal tick, and as things couldn't be any better when she asks quietly for help, who should appear but the hero of hell himself, Chainsaw Man. Yeah, she is having a bad day. The customer loses his head, trying to flee for his life while everyone else is frozen in shock and panic, but then Denji makes him really lose his head, severing it without even blinking as the Chainsaw Man turns to the poster of a burger on the wall. Staring at it, we get either a flashback of Denji speaking to Pochita or Denji within his subconscious speaking to the devil dog, but whichever it is, the Chainsaw Devil wants a burger. As he takes a seat, he attempts to request a burger to no avail, only coming out as threatening growls, and as the burger-headed employee tries to tell someone to call for the devil hunters, his head is severed as well. Kobani somehow works out that he wants a hamburger, and as the employees attempt to act out their usual routine of announcing their meal, Kobani trips as she is supposed to deliver it, throwing fries, burger and drink all over him. The Chainsaw Man remains completely stoic, unflinching. Kobani looks up at him expectantly, but he does not strike out at her, just remaining still. She calls out for another meal, and once again they go through the process of trying to do their introduction, but the boss accuses Kobani of getting them killed. Oh, bad move doing that in front of the Chainsaw Man, and he's dead. Head cut clean off just like all the others. Seems like he really likes cutting off people's head right now. As Kobani attempts to deliver another meal to him, she trips, and this time upon looking up at him she can't keep it in any longer, her face contorting in distress as she begins to cry. Despite this, Denji gives no immediate reaction to her actions and instead just remains calmly sitting there. That is where the chapter ends. Despite this chapter apparently having more pages, it does not give us nearly as much to chew on as the previous chapter. But I do wonder if he showed up because Kobani asked for help or because he just wanted a burger. If it's the former, then that means he reacts to not only the request for help from devils but from humans too. If it's not that, then Kobani is just very unlucky in her life. Overall, these 2 chapters have given me a lot to think about. Why does the Chainsaw Devil seek to help devils? Is it just naturally good-natured but twisted in its methods, or does Pochita have a greater plan? It did appear to Denji when he was at his lowest, was that it just attempting to help someone, and does that mean it would have eventually killed him? Who knows? But what we do know is that the Chainsaw Man isn't a mindless berserker. It has thoughts and desires, even if they are infused with immense bloodlust and an instinct to kill those asking for help and to immediately kill whatever is causing the problem. And these 2 chapters just continue to build on the idea that the Chainsaw Devil is special for unknown reasons. I'm still a firm believer that it's not actually the Chainsaw Devil, but in fact something much more powerful and a much darker concept than that, but we can only wait and see what happens from here on out. With all that said and done, embrace your weebdom, and I'll be back with another video in a couple of days. As with the start of the academic year, I have a more structured schedule from now on, so I should be more consistent in my uploads. Weebs out.